Welcome back to Slothbox. I'm Lyndon Dixon, and as usual, this video is brought to you by the Excelsior Sports Club. Today, I'm joined again by Shadasia Green. Shadasia, how are you?
I'm good, sir. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
No worries. So, let's get straight into it. Savannah Marshall fought, I think, last weekend against. She fought and beat Cruz Dezern. Firstly, what did you think of both of their performances?
It was what I expected, not as far as the victory is concerned, but the way the fight went. Franchon brings it. She's a dog. She's gonna come to fight. Savannah made adjustments in the third and fourth round that carried over to 10-round decision. So the fight, she was very victorious, and I enjoyed watching the fight.
Mm. I've seen you calling for Savannah Marshall next after that fight and before the fight. Apparently, Maurizio Suleiman, the president of the WBC, he said it should be next, and your promoter Jake Paul said it needs to be next. Is that the fight we're going to see next?
Absolutely, absolutely. Savannah Marshall just fought July 1st. I
Mm.
think that she earned herself a great vacation, a great rest. And I'm fighting August 5th on the Jake Paul versus Nate Diaz card. I plan to be extremely victorious, but not looking over my opponent. She's a great fighter herself, Olivia Curry, who's not coming to lay down.
Mm.
Uh, it's just me staying busy and staying active. And after that fight, me and Savannah our team should start talking, and we should be scheduling the fight soon.
Mm. Talk to me a little bit about Jake Paul and that next fight because, like you said, it's Jake on the Jake Paul Diaz card. First of all, that's a huge platform, but since you signed with Jake Paul, it feels like your career's taken those next steps. How would you evaluate things so far with Jake Paul?
I think that's the exact sentiments that I would say.
Mm.
My career has taken humongous steps compared to what it was. In this sport, you need a powerhouse behind you. It's fighters out here who don't have a powerhouse but have the skills. Jake Paul is heavily uh, induced in women's boxing, and he's pushing the sport. He's pushing the sport forward, as we all
Mm.
know. He's already put on some of the biggest female fights there is. Katie Taylor versus Amanda Serrano, which generated a humongous amount of dollars, and who deserved it more than Amanda Serrano. So I feel like with Jake Paul in your corner and MVP Promotions and Akisa, and as well as my personal team, Veronica Soto and Danny Soto, I feel like that my career could really press forward and be what it's supposed to be.
Mm.
I'm a talent that needs to be seen on these huge platforms, and that's what they're doing.
Well, let's talk about the fight you're really aiming for. Like you say, you can't overlook your opponent, but fingers crossed you get over the line against Curry. It is Marshall, the person you're looking for, and Jake Paul's called it the biggest female fight that the UK has seen so far. Firstly, do you agree with him, and how much do you want that fight?
I absolutely agree with him. You have to look at Savannah's record. She took a loss to Clarissa Shields, but she is still one of the biggest power punchers in women's division. Not bigger than me, however. I am also a power puncher. We both have skill and technique, and I think that with me coming to the UK to fight for her titles could only make a humongous. It could only be a humongous event. So I feel like this is the next biggest women's boxing event to go down.
Mm.
Especially with Amanda and what she's doing. She led the way. She provided the platform. She put in the work, and her and Katie Taylor came toe to toe. So I feel like me and Savannah should be next to
Mm.
to uh to to take on that reign and just kind of like go based off that and push forward.
Mm. You mentioned that power there. I mean, typically when you watch women's boxing, you don't really see many knockouts, but you just look at your record without watching the fights. You break the mold, and I really hope that you versus Marshall is the fight we see next for both of you because I feel like it'll be such an interesting sight in the ring. But is the knockout the way of victory that you'll be aiming for against Marshall?
A lot of people probably think that I admire my power most. That's not true.
Mm.
I admire my skills, but my boxing ability, my IQ in the ring, my skill set. I'm in love with my skill set, and work on it every day to get better. So sometimes fighters get mixed up and fall in love with their power, thinking that one shot is just going to be the answer. It's not always true, you know. Look at Mike Tyson. Look at even Javante. You know, sometimes fights go the distance, and you have to win them economically all rounds. So when I know that I'm coming to, like, hopefully I'm coming to the UK to defeat Savannah Marshall, I would have to win on the scorecards, of course.
Mm,
I don't, her chin is like necessarily, she shows a great one, but I believe that my skill set and my domination will take over for that fight.
mm. How would you feel about fighting in the UK? Because obviously we're quite renowned for our atmospheres and the fans and stuff like that. What would it mean to you to have a fight, a world title fight in the UK?
It would mean a lot to me, you know. I would love to go over there and grasp the UK audience. I know that it's a vigorous audience and they're loyal to their the people that represent their country. So um, I'm coming over there gracefully and respectfully, you know, just to sort it out in the ring, and
Mm.
that's what I'm doing. And I think it'd be an amazing atmosphere. It would be new because I've never fought in the UK before, so I look forward to it.
Lastly, on Savannah Marshall, I mean, your career, just again, just talking about the record, it's like I love looking at it because it's not just KOs. It's just shows the skill and the type of people you've been in there with, and the steps in your career. It's really just gone from next level to next level. So, just what would it mean for you to take Savannah's belts and become a world champion?
It will mean everything to me. It's what I've been working for my whole life. I came home from college. Me and my mother made a deal, and she sent me to college and told me I needed to get my education. And I got a free education playing basketball. She made a deal with me because I didn't want to go. I wanted to go to the Olympics, but that wasn't in her dreams. That wasn't what she wanted me to do. And as a child, I always trusted my mother's judgment, and I followed her lead. You know, in order to become a leader, you have to be a great follower first. So I knew that in the back of my mind that this is what I wanted. I wanted to be the undisputed world champion at, whatever weight class. I want to be a couple of multiple um, weight world champion. I want to be on a pound for pound list. So this is it. This is what I dream of. This is what I lay down and go to sleep thinking about. Holding those 4 titles, maybe 5.
Mm.
You know, um, being on a pound for pound list, being the face of women's boxing, which thanks to Jake Paul and Nikisa and my Veronica and Danny, Terrific and Barry, I am becoming one of the faces of females boxing. Clarissa Shields have laid the groundwork. Alicia Bumgarner, Katie Teller, Amanda Serrano, who implemented the work long before the platforms were even available to do so. And I just want to be amongst those great top tier pound for pound female fighters in the sport, and including Savannah. Savannah has been on that platform in that light, and now she's a super middleweight undisputed world champion. So congratulations to her, and I look forward to sharing the ring with her and
Mm.
being victorious.
Well, let's move on from that now. Let's talk about your promoter, Jake Paul. He's got a massive fight himself. I mean, people have spoke about him not fighting proper fighters before. Yeah, he lost to Tommy Fury, but Nate Diaz is a completely different kettle of fish, in my opinion. That man is it's going to be a tough test, but how do you see it going?
I see Jake Paul boxing smart. I see Nate Diaz being very aggressive. But once he feels Jake power, let's see how he adapts to it. Jake is the bigger guy in my sentiments when I look at his body build, but you got to understand that it's very dangerous to fight somebody who's truly okay with learning on the job. You know,
Mm.
Jake is taking every extremity to better himself. Um, he recovers very well. He's got some of the best trainers around him, and I'd like to see that flourish. And I feel like he will be victorious on that night. Jake is getting better every fight. Even in his loss. He's not one to complain and cry about what was fair, what wasn't, make excuses. And all respect to Nate Diaz, he's a legend. I don't see him coming to lay down, but I see it being a very interesting match. But I see Jake Paul being victorious.
Mm. Well, it's I can't wait to watch it. But the last question from me: you've been you fought in February. You're now going to fight in August. So I feel like you're going to be pretty active. Fingers crossed we get the Marshall fight before the end of the year. But where do you see yourself come the end of the year? What do you hope to have achieved?
Well, come the end of the year, not looking over Olivia Curry because it starts with her. You know, I
Mm,
have to give her. I'm not overlooking her at all. She's a great fighter. She's 7-1 with 2 knockouts. You know, she's been contending for a bit. When I'm victorious, I plan by the end of the year to be the super middleweight undisputed world champion. In talks,
mm,
you know, not to overlook that, but when I have those belts, of course, a vacation and in talks for the next biggest fight.
Well, that sounds good. Undisputed super middleweight has a nice ring to
Yes,
it.
say that.
Well, anyway, as usual, it's been a pleasure. I've been Lyndon Dixon. She's been Shadasia Green, and we will see you on the next one.
Appreciate you for having me.
Thank you.